Now, I want to talk a little bit more specifically about what the disaster response team does. An important thing to keep in mind is that we think of the disaster response team as a service that we can deploy to help our government customers, our nonprofit customers, or NGOs that are active in emergency situations. We deploy this team as a service, as technical expertise, and what we're trying to do is augment and certainly not harm existing response efforts. And we're able to provide this on-the-ground support for up to 2 weeks in every situation. I think it's also very important, though, to be very explicit and very transparent about why we do these things. Number one, and this is a kind of obvious one, but I think it's worth saying, which is that Amazon's affected by disasters. We're affected by emergency scenarios. We have a footprint all over the world. We manage a lot of infrastructure in many parts of the world. Our employees' safety is extremely important to us. We want to make sure that they're well taken care of. And then, of course, a lot of when people are affected by a disaster, these are fellow human beings who we want to help. And this is a no-brainer. We feel it when disaster strikes, and it's something that we want to respond to. And there are obvious reasons why we'd want to do it. One of the other advantages, though, of having this sort of program is that it allows us to focus on preparedness and on the importance of preparedness. Like I said before, I run our open data program, and one of the benefits of having large volumes of shared official data in the cloud is that when disaster strikes, you want to be prepared for it, and you don't want to necessarily be scrambling to get access to data that you should already probably have access to. One of the nice things about having data available for analysis in the cloud is that you don't have to do that. I can speak from experience. I've helped with volunteer teams that have mobilized after disasters. My most recent memory of doing this was after the Nepal earthquakes, I think 2014 or 2015, where my friends and I are scrambling, trying to find a place that has good connectivity so that we can upload a bunch of satellite imagery, or actually download a bunch of satellite imagery that we can copy onto a hard drive, get it onto a disk so that we can send it down to somebody who's out in the field to do this sort of stuff. Increasingly, that kind of thing I haven't had those conversations in a long time, because increasingly these data assets and imagery are already available in a cloud environment, and there are applications that people can use to interact with them. And of course now, that because of things like Snowball Edge, if you want to get these things out into the field, you can get them out there much more quickly. Another interesting point is that having this sort of program gives us a reason to invest in new technologies that can be deployed and have broader applicability and can be deployed in areas with low connectivity. This is something that's just of interest to Amazon broadly, and certainly to AWS, is that we want to make sure that people anywhere have access to computing power to do whatever they want. But I want to reiterate the point that we test new technologies in disaster response situations only in field testing and sort of like for training scenarios. One thing that we will never do, because like I said, we want to be helpful in these situations, is to test new technologies in an emergency situation. That is not the time to test a new technology. But testing new technologies for training purposes and testing is actually an investment that we're willing to make, and we've had a lot of success and learned interesting things working with partners doing this already, which is great.